As a passionate spoon carver and instructor, I always wished for this set of tools I could recommend to a beginner. Somebody who wants to just dip their toes into the realm of axe and knife carving. I want people to carve, but many beginners are on a budget. They are not deep into all of it. They don't want to spend that much to try it out. They don't want to wait that long. And at the same time, I also didn't want to sacrifice any quality, any ethical manufacturing, any of these principles I have about good tools. And so I set out on this journey and I found something. Let me introduce you to the Beavercraft Beginner Spoon Carving Kit. Now, as you see, this one comes with a whole tool roll of very sturdy jute material. We've got a sloyd blade, we've got a hook knife, and we even got a chip carving knife. And as a little plus, it comes with its own little stropping kit. Now, let me take you through these tools and let's see what they are and what they aren't. What you can see right off the bat is that your knives are protected. That's such a plus. Now, all the handles are made from what appears to be ash, and they're very much in a barrel shape. And in the beginning I thought like, oh, these are quite slim and narrow, but you know what? They do exactly what I love about a knife handle. They show the direction of the blade very well. The fitting in the handle is done with a very basic type of mount, but I have taken these knives through some half-dry birch, and I gotta say, there was no wiggle, there was no doubt about these knives being sturdy in there. Now, the blade shape is a really great overall shape, I gotta say. It has a continuous curve. Stock of the blade is about 2 millimeters and a bit, which is really great. I like the tip of this knife that is fine enough for some pretty small radiuses in the transition between handle and bowl, but at the same time it gives confidence. Maybe in the hands of a beginner, something like this is gonna hold up a little bit longer, especially from high carbon steel like this at 58 to 60 Rockwell. The hook has the same handle as the sloyd, and I like these handles. They really like to nest inside your knuckles and thus are really helping you not getting fatigued. You don't have to hold on to them. They have this nice oiled finish. Now, the blade itself has a very round and tight radius and suffers a little bit from the same problem that Mora knives suffer from. Well, there's a hollow grind, a hollowed bevel on the outside of this radius. However, I found these knives out of the box to be extremely sharp. I like the bevels are nicely done, and to be very honest, the type of modification a lot of people do to their Moras, where they just convex the outside on some leather with sandpaper, is gonna be enough to make this hook into a very, very usable tool. Now, I haven't done any modifications to this, and you can tell that this knife is sharp. It also has a little bit of a curve to the blade itself. So you can imagine if this knife was straight, it would have a nice curve to it. So they just curled it in then, and it slices beautifully. It holds an edge nicely. I like this knife. Here you can see me taking the sloyd knife through a couple more stages of my spoon carving method, the CCC method that I have a video out about, by the way. So if you want to know more about spoon carving and about a method that takes you a little bit more systematically through a spoon, check out my CCC spoon carving method on my YouTube channel. The sloyd blade itself comes with very nicely done straight bevels. However, there is a slight micro-convex to it, and I wouldn't call it a Scandivex. It is a micro-convex, and I think it helps a lot to have this type of modification, especially for beginners. Now, the strop kit it comes with is very nicely done. The leather's about 3 millimeters thick, but not too soft, so stropping done properly is not gonna convex the knife anymore. But the compound is cutting very well, and I was able to bring back the edge in no time. It's just a joy to carve with this knife. Let's say it like this: if you're into spoon carving, and like I said in my last video, you just got yourself, as a beginner, a very high-end spoon carving blade. It may be a Nick Westermann's Lloyd knife or a Reed Schwartz hook, but you don't know anything about sharpening, anything about maintaining your knives. I can see some pretty big anxiety coming up. You trying to do your first steps of sharpening and honing a blade, holding something in your hand that was a little bit more expensive, and especially you waited for it probably a year and a half. So I think that this kit is also an amazing opportunity with very low consequence and low risk for anybody to do their first steps in sharpening, modifying their blades, and just see what you can do with bench stones, sandpaper, strops, whatever you got there. So I wanted to point that out as well. Are these Nick Westermann or Reed Schwartz knives Carlson knives? No, they aren't. But they're solid. They really are. And you can see, without any modifications to this blade at all, this knife is cutting the most beautiful curls on this half-dry birch. Now, after using this knife for quite a while, I gotta say that these handles have even grown on me. Very rounded handles are not what you want in your hand. The inside of your hand is not a perfect egg shape. It's a faceted surface that wants to hold on to corners and ridges and facets. So what Beavercraft has done with these handles is actually a very, very good budget method of providing great handles that are oiled, that are grippy, and that don't give you any hot spots whatsoever. Now, despite this hook not having the perfect bevels in my opinion, it finishes nicely. It really does. It's a great opportunity for someone to get into carving with a hook tool and maybe modifying it even a little bit. Now, next up, there's something that I have rarely seen in any type of kit for spoon carving. A chip carving knife. This one is very well done. I like everything about it, I gotta say. The handle shape is very, very ergonomic, smart. It just supports your hand in the right areas. There's nothing else I can say about it. The bevels are perfectly done. The tip is nice and sharp. I very much enjoyed using this chip carving knife. So while you're watching me doing some finishing cuts on the spoon and a little bit of decoration here and there, let me say something about Beavercraft. I've talked to the guys at Beavercraft in Ukraine, and first of all, Kiev, the capital of the Ukraine, was founded by Vikings. Let's just start off with that. The Ukraine has a long history of forging tools, forging some amazing knives to this day. I am aware of a lot of artists and blacksmiths in the Ukraine who do an incredible job, and I want to say that these guys said to me personally, we want to make a difference in the carving world, in the greenwood carving world. They want to bring good tools made in Kiev by people who have good work conditions, regular salaries, all that stuff that's so important for me, sustainability. They want to bring all of that to people who maybe are on a budget, instructors who maybe need more than one kit at a time, family people, family parents who don't have the extra few $100s to get into spoon carving. And that's exactly what I was searching for. They never have left any doubt to me that their intentions are just to bring carving to everyone. And that's why I'm feeling good about recommending this tool set to anybody out there who wants to get into it. Just give it a try. It's one of the greatest hobbies that you can come across, and at the end of the day, you're walking away with something beautiful and useful. Oh, and hey, to support the channel, visit woodsmansfinest.com and patreon.com/woodsmansfinest. Well, and to buy one of those kits, just check out the link below or visit beavercrafttools.com. If you want to stay up to date about my trips and work, just visit me on Instagram at Woodsman's Finest and check out those guys as well. They got a lot of giveaways and a lot of fun content. Thank you for watching, folks.